Baroness McIntosh of Pickering.
I beg leave to ask the question standing in my name on the order paper.
My Lords, the Government has no plans to legislate for the registration or insurance of e-bikes or pedal bikes. This would be likely to put many people off cycling with negative environmental and health benefits. However, it's illegal for private e-scooters to be used on public roads. The Government will consider both registration and insurance for e-scooters in any future legislation. I look forward to further exploring this important subject with the Noble Baroness in our forthcoming meeting.
The Noble Lord, and I look forward to meeting him tomorrow. Presumably, the Government is seeking a safe space for all road users, including pedestrians, car drivers, e-scooters, e-bikes and bikes. Currently, 1 million e-scooters are being used illegally on public roads without insurance. Their accidents caused and the damage caused is recovered through the Motor Insurance Bureau claims, 47% of which involve e-scooters and pedestrians between the ages of 7 and 80 being struck by an e-scooter. While I share the Government's aim that we want to increase and improve micromobility at every level, will the Noble Lord ensure that the Government applies the law as it currently stands and reviews the possibility of extending to e-scooters, e-bikes and bikes both registration and insurance, because it is inappropriate that only car drivers are currently covering the cost of this insurance?
I feel this is a rerun of the Noble Baroness's previous question, and she is of course right that the road network, including pavement, should be safe for all varieties of road users, including all of the people she mentions and pedestrians. It clearly is an issue, and I respect her view and the view of other Noble Lords that it's an issue. The previous government, of course, started a rental trial in 2020, announced primary legislation in May 2022, but failed to deliver it. So this government is giving serious consideration to these issues, including the issue of insurance, and I'm sure this subject will come back probably weekly until there's legislation.
My Lords,
will the Minister consider banning e-bikes and e-scooters on pavements and introduce a special lane on the road for these vehicles to rescue pedestrians from what is currently a major risk?
We have limited road space in towns and cities of the United Kingdom. I've wrestled with that issue personally when I ran Transport for London for 9.5 years. It's extraordinarily difficult, and the answer is a set of laws and people conforming with those laws that leaves pedestrians safe, leaves disabled people safe, leaves road users of all sorts safe. And therefore, there is an issue about enforcement. The Noble Lord Hogan Howe raised that issue in this House a few days ago, produced the very competent Sergeant Ford from the City of London Police, who has done a lot on enforcement of illegal e-cycles. And the answer is proper behaviour. The answer is a set of a road network that copes with all its users and proper enforcement.
My Lords, phone thefts and from e-bikes and scooters and general antisocial behaviour by those using such vehicles plagued the residents of Stratford City in my former constituency, spreading fear and intense feelings of unease. Can I ask my noble friend what sanctions can be deployed against such bike users and if there are any plans to increase them?
The government understands this position completely, and there is enforcement. Last year, City of London Police seized 324 e-cycles for having no insurance. The Metropolitan Police seized 1,076. And of course, the issue, as my noble friend relates, is not merely illegal use of the cycles; it's the accompanying disorder and crime that goes with them. So my noble friend Lord Hanson of Flint was also standing at this dispatch box a few days ago talking about the additional measures the government is putting in place to allow easier confiscation of these bikes when they're used in the wrong way. We encourage police forces to follow the lead of the City of London Police and of the Metropolitan Police in understanding that the use of the use of these things illegally also leads to further crime.
Of the investigative reporting carried out by Jim Waterson at London Centric into Lime bikes and the huge increase of broken legs and serious injuries at A&Es, known locally as Lime Leg. And therefore, what plans does the government have to ensure comprehensive insurance is in place for hire bike operators?
Noble Baroness raises a really good point, and I and the department have read the investigation by Jim Waterson. It is concerning that these bikes apparently seem to cause so many breaks of the lower limbs, and I will go away and write to her about the actions that can be taken, both about insurance, which the hire bike scheme should have, but also the action with the company itself about the design of their bikes and the damage that they seem to cause on a regular basis.
Front bench. These two occasions recently when I've asked questions about e-bikes and e-scooters and the Labour government's policy towards them, the Noble Lord the Minister has replied by telling me about the last Conservative government's policy towards them. And I think it's becoming increasingly clear that the reason for that is that this government really doesn't know what its policy towards them ought to be. So will the Minister answer the question I asked last time? Is the government essentially happy for the current state of drift and danger to continue on our streets pretty well indefinitely?
Well, last time the Noble Lord said that to me, I repeated the answer that I gave him on the 1st of April, which is that I don't care to be lectured about drift by somebody who represents a party that did an experiment in 2021, published some results in 2022, and then did absolutely nothing. So that answer is still the same. The government, as you've heard as the Noble Lord has heard to the answer to the Noble Baroness Mackintosh, is considering what to do. It is a complex problem. I have explained it to the Noble Baroness Pigeon, amongst others, about making some decisions about what needs to be in legislation. It's not a simple thing to do, and it's a great shame that his government didn't contemplate and do something about it.
My Lord, somebody has to speak up on behalf of pedal bikes. I say that as somebody who cycled from London to Vienna and back many years ago when I was younger, and somebody who was also knocked down by a pedal bike about 2 or 3 years ago. My Lords, isn't the right policy to encourage the widest possible use of pedal bikes? It's healthy and it's good for the environment.
Noble friend, I've only cycled as far as Amsterdam on a pedal bike, so I admire Vienna and back. I'm not sure I could do it now. The reason why I answered the original question the way that I did is that it is very important not to put people off a mode of transport which is environmentally friendly, safe and done in the right way is a huge benefit to our society. And that's why registration and insurance of pedal bikes is such a difficult issue, because it would undoubtedly put people off cycling. But we also have to recognise that there are behaviours about cycling in general and the use of e-bikes and e-scooters that are very threatening and damaging to pedestrians and can cause very serious accidents and death. And that's why the government intends to introduce appropriate offences to the Road Traffic Act 1988 about the more serious offences to be caused by dangerous, careless and inconsiderate cycling.
Grandchildren, and to go on from the question asked by the Noble Lord Doves, can the government confirm absolutely that there is no move at all to register bicycles for anybody, but particularly for young people? Because otherwise we'll have 6- and 7-year-olds who want to learn to bicycle being registered for some foolish reason, because actually the only person they're a danger to, sadly, is themselves.
I share the Noble Lord's enthusiasm for teaching kids to cycle. And that's why I said to the Noble Baroness Mackintosh that the government has no plans to legislate for the registration or insurance of e-bikes or pedal bikes.
The Minister keeps telling us that it's complex and difficult, but meanwhile he's not doing anything either. Does he understand not only the dimensions of the harm that is being caused, particularly to pedestrians, of riding on pavements, dumping on pavements, sailing through red lights, but also the corrosive effect that this normalisation of antisocial and unlawful behaviour is having on public confidence in the tackling of lawlessness?
The one thing I did not say was that the government is doing nothing. The government is considering very seriously what needs to be done in order to deal with this, and noble lords will know, because I put it in the library, that the range of legislation affecting particularly e-bikes and e-scooters across Europe and beyond gives some very difficult and serious choices about how to legislate and in which way. In the meantime, as my noble friend Lord Hanson of Flint said to the question last week from noble Lord Hogan Howe, the government is taking serious action about dangerous and inconsiderate cycling, and also about confiscating bikes where they're used for crime. I do have sympathy in what the noble Baroness says, and we are doing something about it.